You want hot? The Braves roll into Miami, having just swept the Nationals. And it looks like there'll be no September swoon this year. Everything is clicking in what will be Chipper Jones' last rodeo. A three-gamer starts tonight, Marlins and Braves.
Marlins Park tonight. Big three-game series for the Braves. The Marlins and the Braves opening a three-game set from here through Wednesday as the Braves try to continue their playoff push. Tim Hudson gets the ball for the Braves. Wade LeBlanc will get the ball for the Fish. Some familiar faces with the Braves. Last year around this time, the Braves started their swoon. Right now, they are red hot. Ivor one, Rich Waltz, along with Tommy Hunt. This has a totally different feeling for the Braves this year, Tommy, as opposed to this time last year.
Yeah, they're playing good baseball right now, coming off a three-game sweep of the Washington Nationals. And I think one of the things that keeps you going if you're in the Marlins situation is playing teams like the Braves.
Yeah, well, playing teams like the Braves, in particular the Braves, has not been good to the Marlins this year. The Marlins and the Braves matchup has been one-sided this year.
Totally. Look at that. 12 games, the Marlins have won just 3. And you know what? Individually, it hasn't been the usual suspects. It hasn't been the Chipper Joneses and the Brian McCanns. Juan Francisco's 8 for 15 with a home run. Freeman and Hayward have completely torn up the Marlins pitching. And you can see the Braves with an ERA of 193 against the Marlins in the 12 games they've played this year.
They do have one of the usual suspects on the mound, I'm sorry to tell you. Tim Hudson has been dynamite throughout his career. He's always been tough on the Marlins.
Yeah, he has. Earlier this year, back in June, he threw a 5-hit shutout against the Marlins. He's thrown 2 games here at Marlins Park, and he's been spectacular. He's 2-0 against the Fish this year. And for the Marlins, it's the swing guy, Wade LeBlanc. He's done a terrific job this year, working out of the bullpen as a starter. He's never beaten the Braves, but he matches up, I think, pretty well against some left-handers in their lineup.
First of a 3-game set, last 3-game set with Chipper Jones in Miami. A chat with Chipper when we return as the Marlins and the Braves get ready to go.
head out to center field. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine, gentlemen.
Thank you, Rich. Good evening again, everybody. Chipper Jones will not be in the starting lineup tonight, but we'll see him in this series. This is his goodbye to South Florida. He's emotional a little bit with the fans today, and certainly when he was coming in, and also with us when we talked with him, Jeff. And he's had such an amazing career, and the Marlins have been the brunt because he's in the National League East. They've caught the best of Chipper over the years, and I mean best.
And you look at the numbers that he's amassed just against the Marlins, 242 games, 256 hits, 40 homers, 100. I mean, that's a great season in and of itself, or maybe two seasons, and just against the Marlins. So, this guy's been the consummate professional. He's been an amazing leader in that clubhouse for this franchise. To be able to play your entire career for one franchise nowadays is very rare, and he's represented them very well.
I asked Chipper today if he's savoring all these moments a little differently now that he's down the home stretch of his baseball career.
I've had a lot of last trips into cities this year, but the ones in the East are, a little more special because I got such a history with the Mets, the Marlins, and the Nationals, and the Phillies. So, I got three more cities. So it's and one last homestand at home. So it's starting to get to me a little bit.
Yeah, you and the Marlins arrived at the same time too.
Yeah, and we've had some epic battles down here. The years that the Marlins ended up winning the World Series, they those were some pretty good teams. We had some great battles with them along the way. Was it 97 playoffs? Never forget that. That was seeing Joe Robbie or Pro Player or whatever the hell that stadium was called, packed for a baseball game, 75, 80,000 people. That's a memory. You don't get to play in front of that many people in one sporting event.
You know what? I'll remember that series as long as I live as well. And '97 was a great series, and Chipper Jones, hats off to him. He was a great opponent and a great guy to emulate.
And it's funny, Chipper can't remember the year, but Marlins fans were all saying 97 because you guys not only won.
Well, heck, you went
Series.
14 times the playoffs, so he doesn't. They're all mixed together for him.
I got it for you. Yeah, that's a good point. But you won in Atlanta too, and you celebrated in that visiting clubhouse for National League Championship Series before going on and winning the World Series, of course, in '97. All right, we've got Game 1 coming up. I don't know. See you in the post game, everybody. Fox Sports Club.
Florida, brought to you by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today for great deals on Toyota vehicles. Toyota, moving forward. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Papa John's. For $10, get Papa John's Buffalo Chicken Pizza. Or for $2 more, get any large pizza. Marlins Park tonight. first of three, Braves and Fish. Atlanta's lineup coming in at 84 and 63, having just swept the Nationals. Michael Bourne in center. Andrelton Simmons, the young shortstop, is back and swinging the bat well. Jason Hayward in right. Freddie Freeman at first. They both have had great years against the Fish. Martin Prado always hurts the Marlins. Former Marlin Dan Uggla at second. David Ross, good player. He's behind home plate. Jeff Baker will hit 8th, and Tim Hudson hits 9th.
That's a ball club that Wade LeBlanc hasn't faced a whole lot in his career. He's 0-2 in 4 games, couple of starts against the Braves.
And his pinch-a-penny first pitch is a pinch high.
Of course, the Braves coming off a sweep of the Nationals, beating Gio Gonzalez last night.
Bourne has been struggling at the plate. Freddie Gonzalez's ball club within 5.5 of Washington. At this time last year, they've got 15 games left. At this time last year, they had a 4.5 game lead. So just to show you that it can happen, the Braves were 4.5 up with 15 to play last year. They're 5.5 back with 15 to play. But of course, they've got a 7-game lead in the wild card spot. Big breaking ball, strike 3 called. Down goes Bourne.
That is a pitch, and we talk about it a lot, and I think it's one of the reasons the Marlins haven't matched up well against the Braves. With lefties in the lineup, you've got to have that nice breaking ball if you're a left-handed pitcher going against Atlanta. Guys like Hayward and Freeman, and of course, Bourne.
McCann is out with a sore hamstring. He's listed as day-to-day. Ross may have started anyways against the lefty to give McCann a night off. But he's available to pinch hit, is Brian McCann. Keep that in mind. And here's Andrelton Simmons. We saw him early in the season and busted his finger in June, out for a while, but he's back. And boy, they love him. He's very good defensively, and he's having a nice rookie year with the bat.
Yeah, it was a couple of weeks after he played here at Marlins Park that he injured that finger. At one time, it was Tyler Pasternicki. Paul Janisch has played some shortstop. But this is the guy they want out there.
They've gone through a few of them in the last few years, but many feel this is the guy that's going to be there for a while. He's out of Curaçao. Boy, the Netherlands has 2 young shortstops to pick from for the World Baseball Classic. Didi Gregorius or Andrelton Simmons. Take your choice. The other guy can play second.
I think I'd put Gregorius at second, just from what little we've seen of Simmons and what little we saw of Gregorius.
3-1. LeBlanc working to Andrelton Simmons. 38 games so far for Simmons this year. Little cutter that came back over the plate.
Got a couple of guys tonight, too, and Wade LeBlanc and Tim Hudson, who both don't waste too much time on the mound.
No, LeBlanc, there are no footsteps around the mound. He just walked out, got on the rubber, and started throwing. Soft pop, and it nestles into right center field for a base hit. Gorkys Hernandez runs it down. A single by Simmons. Here's the Marlins defense, brought to you by the Cleveland Clinic, Florida.
And there is a change on that outfield. Peterson, Gorkys Hernandez in center. Justin Ruggiano moves into right field. A slight oblique strain for Giancarlo. Dobbs, Reyes, Solano, Lee around the infield. Rob Brantley behind the plate. This is the first look the Braves will have at Rob Brantley, too.
Here is Hayward. And if you're looking for differences from last year to this year, this is one of the guys you can look towards. Hayward, of course, in 2010, an All-Star. He was second in the Rookie of the Year voting. Last year, some shoulder issues, and he really slumped at the plate. 14 homers, drove in 42 runs. But he's blown back up this year. 27 doubles, 27 homers. Playing Gold Glove caliber right field. See his numbers against LeBlanc. And by the way, he's only 23. Runner goes, and he pulls it foul.
That's the thing about this Braves ball club. You have the veteran going out in Chipper Jones, but then you have the 23-year-old Jason Hayward. You had Freddie Freeman at 22. And so for those youngsters to be around Chipper for a couple of years, unbelievable. The things you can learn just watching him go through his routine.
Simmons is 21.
Like that commercial, priceless to be around Chipper Jones.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. Popped up, and it's foul and out of play. As it stands right now, Atlanta is in that #1 wild card spot. What does that get them? That gets them home field advantage in the 1-game playoff to get to the division series. They're 5.5, as we told you, behind the Nationals with 15 to play. Here's the trick, though. They're so far out in front in that first wild card spot, Tommy Hutton, that when they get to the last week of the season, if they feel they can't catch the Nationals and they know they're going to win that first spot, they can really tinker with and figure out, okay, who do we want to have as the starter for that 1-game playoff? They can hand-pick the guy from their rotation.
I would guess it's going to be 1 or 2 guys. Freddie Gonzalez would choose either the pitcher starting tonight, Tim Hudson, or go with the real hot hand, Chris Medlin.
That would be an interesting decision. Medlin has been untouchable this year.
On the other hand, Mike Minor, the lefty's been throwing extremely well. So if he faces up against a team that has a lot of lefties, you never know.
Little tapper, Solano, a good hustle play to get to the ball and get the out at second. Some guys would concede the runner at second and just get the out at first, but Solano sensed that he could get that out.
And with Simmons, the runner, just kind of trying to get out of the way, because he paused, all of a sudden Solano realized, now I got time to get him at second base. So heads up play. Good choice. There's the pause and the nice feed from Solano.
Now another one of those young left-handed bats, Freddie Freeman. Freeman and Hayward together in the lineup have been quite the duo. You see the season numbers against the Marlins on the bottom line. 32 doubles to go with those 20 home runs. LeBlanc, good move to first. Freeman smacks one in the gap, right center field. Over for it is Ruggiano. Hayward's going to take third. Freeman will hold at first. And the Braves, with 2 outs, have runners at the corners. And here comes Martin Prado.
You talked about the 2 youngsters. Hayward this year, 340 with 4 home runs against the Marlins, and Freeman over 350 with a home run and 9 RBIs this year against the Marlins. So those 2 left-handed bats have done a lot of damage against the Fish this year.
So Martin Prado, in his last 33 games, over 300. Prado's average just a few ticks below 300. Always consistent, always seems to hurt the Fish. And a guy that can play multiple spots. He's at third base tonight as Chipper Jones gets the night off. He's been in left field. He'll play second base when Uggla either gets benched for a few days or gets a couple days off.
And I'm sure if you asked most fans, even people who follow the game closely, who leads the National League in multi-hit games, they wouldn't come up with Martin Prado's name.
Prado, one of those guys that got to the big leagues as a super utility guy, but was so good that he became an everyday utility guy. In the lineup, just not sure where. Fastball up and in.
Good pitch by Wade LeBlanc, though. He needs to show that to a right-handed hitter every once in a while. Fastball in. Keep him honest.
Boy, another guy having a great year and a nice impact in San Francisco is Marco Scuro. Jim Tracy did not want to see him go in Colorado. Pitch up and in, it's 2-2. Prado's got a hefty amount of pine tar on the bat. You can see it on his jersey. when he rests the bat up on his jersey. Liner, right center. That's trouble. It falls. And Prado has done it again. Freeman arrives at third. The Braves are on the board first. Martin Prado, 65 RBIs this year.
Well, you think about a couple of the base hits in this inning. There's a good changeup. Prado just stays back, gets it off the end of the bat. He bloops it. Simmons's base hit was a bloop that dropped out in center field. So they're not squaring up a lot of balls against Wade LeBlanc.
Ugla now. Second year with the Braves for the former Marlin. And Ugla takes outside. This has been a real struggle for him. Remember, the start of last year was a nightmare, but the second half erased all of that bad dream. Ugla cranked 36 home runs last year, career high, drove in 82, and had a 33-game hit streak in that second half.
First half of the season last year, he hit 185. Second half, 296. This is incredible, the turnaround he had. And I think a lot of Braves fans thought that he would do the same thing this year, and it just hasn't clicked that way for him.
Yeah, he didn't have the best of first halves, and the second half has not gone well either. Freddie Gonzalez, who obviously was his manager here in Miami, and probably one of the reasons the Braves decided to go ahead and give him that extra year and trade for him, had to sit him down. Brought him into the office, sat him down. It was less than a week that he was back in the lineup. 2-1. Cutter catches the corner, and it's 2-2. He's been pretty even first half, second half, or at least he was as a Marlin.
208 career home runs now for Dan Ugla.
Ugla hits high, deep drive. Peterson back at the wall, and it's gone. A 3-run rocket by Dan Ugla. And the Braves, who came into Miami smoking hot, hang a 4 spot on the board here in the first.
Let me correct myself. 209 career home runs now for Dan Ugla. And by now, you all know his name.
Yes, you do. A Cleveland or Pool home run.
It's his third home run against the Marlins this year. Remember, last time we saw Ugla in this ballpark, he hit a line drive home run off the sun, off the home run sculpture. All 3 of his home runs against the Marlins this year have been here.
A few bloops and a blast. And a 4-0 Atlanta lead. David Ross up there, and the count quickly 0-2. Smack down the right field line. I did not think I would have to bring this stat out until later in the telecast. But Tim Hudson, when given a lead of 3 or more runs, is 134 and 3. That's a blast. Left field. Hernandez makes the catch at the track. So the Braves not only have given Hudson a 3-run lead, they've given him a 4-run lead, and the Marlins have yet to hit. A 30-pitch first inning for Wade LeBlanc, and a 3-run bomb for Dan Ugla. deep again. A 3-run shot, 19th of the season. And Tim Hudson on the mound with a 4-run lead. Brian Peterson leads it off, and a sinker from Hudson is down low. Started the season on the disabled list after back surgery in the offseason. So this is only his 26th start.
Which I think bodes well for Tim Hudson and for the Braves as they move into postseason.
A little bit fresher, maybe. 160 innings he has logged. Peterson takes a strike. It's Bill Miller calling balls and strikes. C.B. Buckner at first. Dan Iasonia at second. Vic Carapaza is at third base. Peterson a 2-hopper. Ugla glides over to get it. Flips on over to first. Marlins lineup looks this way. Brian Peterson in the leadoff spot with Giancarlo Stanton out. Gorkys Hernandez plays center and hits second. Jose Reyes hitting third. Carlos Lee cleanup. Justin Ruggiano moves up to fifth. Greg Dobbs up to sixth. Donovan Solano seventh. Rob Brantley's hot right now. He'll hit eighth, and Wade LeBlanc hits ninth.
Yeah, Gorkys Hernandez has started. This his 18th time in center field.
Hudson throws a strike, and it's 0-1.
Okay, you talked about the number of innings for Tim Hudson. 8 times in his career he's thrown 200 innings or more.
Hernandez rolls it into center field, and a base hit. Gorkys Hernandez with a 1-out single. For the Braves defensively.
Hey, brought to you by Cleveland Clinic, Florida, with Jeff Baker in left, Bourne and Hayward filling out the outfield, Prado and Simmons on the left side. Ugla, Freddie Freeman, and David Ross is behind the plate.
Here is Reyes. You see that .313 average against the Braves this year. Reyes pulls the chopper to first. Freeman spun and looked at second, decided to just get that out at first. 2 outs. Carlos Lee comes up, and here's a closer look at 37-year-old Tim Hudson.
Well, check on that scouting report. Brought to you by Coventry Healthcare. Still sinking. That's right. 37 years old, and it still sinks. Pretty good. Cutters, he'll use that pitch a lot. And just a tremendous athlete. He shows that off once in a while with a quick move to first base.
Carlos Lee in his career has matched up against Hudson 35 times and has hit .343 against him. And El Caballo takes down low. Giancarlo Stanton with a sore side is out for what he said would just be 1 day. So he's possibly able to pinch hit. The Marlins already.
I would doubt that. If you're not going to play, you could do more damage to that kind of injury, pinch hitting, without being loose.
If that's the case, then Miami has just 3 men on their bench. The Braves have their entire minor league system here.
How many guys do the Braves have up here?
Braves have 10 on their bench, 22 or 12 in their bullpen. I think it's like 35 or 36 guys in uniform.
Freddie Gonzalez still trying to introduce himself to all the new faces.
The Braves actually had to break into the team store to outfit everyone. 1-1 pitch. But you're right, there's 10 extra guys outside of the starting 8. Got a dozen relievers, and then you've got the 5 starters. One and 2 to Carlos Lee. And the breaking ball, Lee drives it out into right. Hayward is under it and there, and he makes the catch. Miami leaves a runner. The Braves off to a quick start, 4-0. We're in high definition tonight. Coventry second inning, 4-0. Braves on top, Wade LeBlanc. This is Jeff Baker. And he flares one that Solano catches. Baker with his 3rd team already this year. And he's out number 1 here in the second inning.
Braves have a couple of guys like Jeff Baker and Reed Johnson, an old veteran, right-handed hitting 4th type outfielders.
And it's funny because they both started the season the same spot in Chicago with the Cubs. The Braves got Johnson from the Cubs. Baker went from the Cubs to the Tigers, and then from the Tigers to the Braves.
Braves also got Paul Maholm from the Cubs. He's been a nice addition.
That trade in which they got Johnson and Maholm was a under the radar, not a big, sexy, splashy trading deadline deal. But you're right, a very strategic strike which addressed some needs. Matt Diaz hurt against the lefties, and they get Reed Johnson, and then they get Maholm, who slid right into the rotation. Watch party on Friday. We'll be in New York. You can be at Dave and Buster's in the Dolphin Mall. See the Marlins against the Mets at 7:10. Win prizes. Meet Billy and the Energy team. Take advantage of great food and Corona Light specials throughout the game. For more info, go to marlins.com. Busy night out at the Budweiser Bowtie Bar and Balcony, which has become a favorite hangout spot for many of the hitters in batting practice.
Dan Uggla visited there during BP.
And he hit a few balls up there, too. Fly ball down the left field line is foul.
Hey, you know, you talked about the struggles of Michael Bourne hitting just a little over 200 here in the month of September. So I'm sure if they get to a point where they can give some guys a little rest, Bourne would be one of the first guys that gets a few days off.
LeBlanc really sawed him off, picks it up, fires to first. Lee is waiting. That 4-run first looming large right now. Atlanta
Miami Marlins Béisbol en Español es presentado en SAP por Coventry Healthcare of Florida.
Dinner served, ready to go. Bottom of the second, Tim Hudson against Justin Ruggiano. And Ruggiano followed by Greg Dobbs and Donovan Solano here in the second. The Marlins have dug themselves a 4-run hole against a guy that knows what to do when he gets the lead. We had a very similar stat last week when the Marlins were facing Roy Halladay.
They used to have stats like that all the time with Greg Maddux as well.
134-3 when given a lead of 3 or more runs. That bat blew up in the hands of Ruggiano. The ball ends up in the glove of Freddie Freeman.
The interesting thing, Rich, surrounding Tim Hudson ever since he was acquired by the Braves is that he has feasted on the National League East. It's not just the Marlins. He's 13-4 in his career against the Marlins. He's 15-9 in his career against the Mets. He's 14-5 in his career against the Nationals and 9-9 against the Phillies. So 51-27 in his career against the National League East.
Braves have an option for next year.
I'd pick it up right now.
Right, you're right about that for Tim Hudson. He's 37 and he's pitching like he always has pitched. Dobbs goes after one and drives it to center. It's at a long way out there. Bourne makes the catch on the warning track. 2 outs. Here comes Solano. A reminder, this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority. The Miami Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Here is Solano with 2 outs. And Hudson's career numbers, he doesn't have the hardware that Halladay has. The Cy Youngs, the perfect game, the postseason no-hitter.
But he's won about as many games.
Yeah, that's where I was headed.
Yeah.
196 and 103 is his record, and his ERA 3.42. And keep in mind that ERA accumulated in 8 years in Atlanta, and of course a run in Oakland during the height of the offensive explosion in baseball.
I think Halladay now, he won his last time out. Or did he win after the... No, he didn't. Another no decision. So he's 197. 197 or 198 for Halladay.
And Hudson might be one of those guys, if he pitches 2 or 3 more years and gets to 215, 220 wins, does the bar dip that low in terms of 300 wins for the Hall of Fame if he has such a great winning percentage?
Yeah, you know, if it does, you'll have a lot of guys ahead of him. That's the thing, though. You'd have the Andy Pettitts and Mike Messinas.
Well, maybe they're in by then, you know. It's hard to tell where that's headed. Solano knocks it into center field. Donovan Solano with a base hit. Good to see, because Solano had spent the last week not having as much success as he had enjoyed in his first 2 months in the big leagues.
Not too many sinkers does Tim Hudson leave in that area, but you're right. He had slacked off just a little bit, but he's hit the Braves in his short time in the big leagues pretty well. 7 hits and 17 trips.
One of the bright spots for the Marlins here in the second half is in this guy at the plate, Rob Brantley, who has hit in 7 straight and is close to 400 in his last 15 games.
And I'll tell you the 2 numbers I like. 12 walks, 12 strikeouts.
No swing, says Vic Carapazza. Here's the other thing that's impressive. Brantley's been hitting mostly out of the 8th spot in the order. It's a good take. That is not easy to do for a veteran hitter, let alone a guy in his first month in the big leagues. He does not profile as a number 8 hitter.
No, he doesn't.
As his career goes on.
Talking about how now that he's gotten a few at-bats, gotten some games, how things are slowing down a bit for him.
JP. Too bad the rest of the Phillies didn't hit when they were in Houston.
The great line that Rob Brantley had was his first at bat in the major leagues was against Kyle Kendrick. He came back to the bench and he shaking his head. He said, "Can't believe I was swinging over those changeups like that." And the guys on the bench said those were fastballs. So he was out in front of everything.
A little amped up.
A little amped up that first AB.
He really has become a quick study at the plate and behind the plate. 2-2. Solano's at first. Dan Uggla with a 3-run homer in the first. The Braves have built a 4-0 lead. Breaking ball, he pulls it on the ground and into right field. Another hit for Brantley. How about that? Rob Brantley singles against Tim Hudson. The Marlins have a couple of 2-out hits.
Uggla not expecting him to pull the ball, not playing there for a double play because they're 2 out. But he got crossed up a little bit, and that ball took a tough hop as Uggla went into his dive. And an 8-game hitting streak for Rob Brantley.
You've got a good hitting pitcher here in Wade LeBlanc against Tim Hudson, and you also have the makings of one pitcher charging the mound. This is Alabama against Auburn, Tommy.
This is a great SEC matchup here.
This is the Iron Bowl here. LeBlanc 1 for 2 against the Braves. He pitched at Alabama. LeBlanc was born and raised in Louisiana. Hudson, born and raised in Alabama, Chattahoochee Valley Community College, and then on to Auburn. That's the amazing thing about Hudson. He went to Chattahoochee Valley Community College, and he really wasn't a big-time prospect.
I'm sure a lot of that at that time had to do with his size.
LeBlanc, a soft ground ball. Uggla has it, and he gets the out at first. Marlins leave those 2 runners, just like he did it back in Chattahoochee. 4-0 Atlanta. Tonight, brought to you by the fine folks at H.H. Gregg. 4-0. Atlanta getting all 4 in the first. Dan Uggla's 3-run homer, the big blow for the Braves. And the Braves are rolling. Wade LeBlanc a little shell-shocked after that first. Tommy, we were talking before the ballgame and even touched upon it in the pregame show. 15 games left for the Braves, 5.5 back behind the Nationals. The way the Nationals are playing, probably can't get them. However, Braves win this ball game. Nationals idle tonight. It's 5 games with 14 to play.
The only thing, I mean, you and I sit here and most people would say, well, they probably aren't going to catch it. But the Braves are going to remember what happened to them and how things came down last year.
And the whole dynamics of the postseason have changed from last year, because if this were last year, the Braves, there's a roller from Simmons out to short. Reyes fires to first. The Braves wouldn't even be thinking about catching the Nationals. The Braves would be saying, you know what? Our magic number is 8. That's to clinch the wild card. Then we're off to the division series, baby.
Yeah, things are a little different this year, though.
This year now it's that 1-game playoff game.
Now you got the Cardinals, the Dodgers, the Brewers, maybe the Pirates. They're trying to scramble to be the team that plays the Braves.
So for the Braves, they're going to do everything they can to try to catch the Nationals, whereas in years past there really wasn't that big of an incentive if they had a 7-game wild card lead at this point.
Kind of an interesting schedule. I'm looking at the Nationals schedule. They have tonight off, as you mentioned. They're at home. They have 3 games against the Dodgers, 3 home games, or 4 against the Brewers.
Hayward hits a blast to center. Gorkys Hernandez has room, and he makes the catch.
Then they go to Philadelphia for 3 and for St. Louis for 3. And they finish against the Phillies. So they have 6 more games against the Phillies.
Well, they will not face the Nationals' Clayton Kershaw when they play the Dodgers. That news today that Kershaw's hip injury might be serious enough to need surgery.
And if that happens, he might not be back until next May.
So they've lost Billingsley. Kenley Jansen, of course, had the heart issue. He's been down. Ted Lilly earlier in the season.
You know who's going to have to step it up is Josh Beckett, if he has any left in the tank.
Freeman pulls one to Solano at
Very
second.
good inning for Wade LeBlanc.
That's a 6-pitch inning for Wade LeBlanc.
Hey, Rich, thank you very much. Baseball America named its 2012 All-Star team, and it's very interesting news because a couple of Marlins made the squad in the organization at Single A. Jose Fernandez making the squad. His unbelievable season at Greensboro and Jupiter. You see his combined numbers there, 14-1 with the 175, 158 strikeouts in just 134 innings. As Brian Peterson takes a whack at that, it's foul ball. And Christian Yelich makes the second team, and he had a great year too. He had 330 with 12 homers and 20 stolen bases, the 23rd overall pick for the Marlins a couple of years back for Jupiter. And the former Jupiter manager from a few years ago, and now New Orleans manager Ron Hassey is with the ball club, and watching some of these guys, both single A that he managed and also some of the triple A guys like Rob Brantley and this year Brian Peterson as well. Guys?
Greg, you had a chance to visit with Hassey, and I know you asked him about Brantley in particular. Hassey, a very decorated career as a big league catcher.
He was very impressed with Brantley, especially said, you know, he only had him a couple of weeks, and I think like we were impressed with him coming right up here and not knowing the pitching staff very well. Be able to look pretty comfortable there, even at the AAA level, and then here with the bat, I guess the two can relate because Hassey was a pretty good left-handed hitter as well in his day.
You know, I hope that someday they will. The guys that were in AAA and have had the opportunity to play under Ron Hassey, you hope they appreciate it. A guy with his experience at the major league level, managing them at the AAA level.
How many of his players do you think go on the internet, look up Ron Hassey, and look at his career, look at the World Series ring, look at the two perfect games that he caught?
Yeah.
A liner down the right field line, and Corquez Hernandez has got himself a double. Jason Hayward trying to dive and make the catch. Hernandez is 2 for 2.
And Corquez has had a good approach each at bat, this time staying back. Line drive, slices just out of the reach of Hayward. And with his speed, Corquez ends up at second.
Corquez Hernandez was property of the Atlanta Braves. He came down from the Tigers in the Edgar Renteria trade along with Jair Jurgens.
To answer your question, though, about Hassey and his players, I would hope that they would all do that. They say, hey, let's see what this guy's career was like. Whoa, it's a good career.
Reyes now. Reyes takes outside. Jose Reyes has 78 career at-bats against Tim Hudson. And he's a .285 hitter with 3 homers. No Giancarlo Stanton tonight, out with a sore side. Stanton today said it would be for just 1 game, but we'll see. Ground ball to third. Prado makes the throw. Hernandez moves up. And he ends up at third base. You can visit the Marlins homepage on foxsportsflorida.com and vote on the Cleveland Clinic Florida Community Poll question. You can also check out our producer John Sulcer's bio and see what kind of a career he has had.
Well decorated.
Guy came out of nowhere, climbed his way to the big leagues, impressed early, has settled in.
Wasn't a real high draft pick.
But he profiled Tommy as a real good major league producer. He fouls it
One
back.
of those guys you have to see produce for a number of games to realize the talent that you have.
Yeah, and one of those guys that if you see him work every day, you grow to like him.
That's kind of like our entire crack staff. And we get to see them work every day.
Here's the 0-1, and it's outside.
I think you can see the difference in the lineup, unfortunately, without Giancarlo. When he's in the lineup, it gives the middle part especially more depth. Because you have Reyes, you have Stanton, you have Lee, you have Rugiano.
One and two. Lee bounces it out. Simmons charges and throws him out. And Tim Hudson gets a ground ball out to get out of the inning again. feeding his infielders ground balls. And the Cleveland Clinic fourth. It's 4-0 Atlanta. Let's try some trivia, shall we? Flip the phone. Here we go. Which Auburn University pitcher has the most major league games played?
Wow, let's see.
Tim Hudson is not only was a pitcher at Auburn, but he played all over the place and had
his junior year he hit 390.
Yeah,
with a ton of home runs.
He had 18 home runs.
But you have to wonder, was there a relief pitcher out of Auburn that may have had more games than Hudson?
Did Frank Thomas pitch at all while he was at Auburn? There's the buzzer.
I'm thinking of a relief pitcher. Oh, I'm not.
No, you're on the right track.
I'm on the right track, but I have nowhere to go though.
You boxed yourself in?
Yeah. Hey, by the way, the first inning, this is how Wade LeBlanc is settled in. He threw 30 pitches. Second inning, he threw 8. And last inning, when he got through the meat of the order again, the second time around, he retired the side on 6 pitches. So a nice comeback for Wade LeBlanc.
Oh, 2 pitch in the dirt. So a relief pitcher out of Auburn University.
Yeah. Now at Auburn, I'm not sure if this unknown pitcher was a relief pitcher, but in the major leagues he was. That's why he had a lot of games. That's how I'm going on this.
That's how Martin Prado is going on this. Reaches out, pokes another one into center field for a base hit. Just about the same spot where he had his other hit. So that brings up Ugla, and the little wooden cap rests squarely on his shoulders tonight. He is the Cholula Hot Sauce Spotlight player, born in Louisville, Kentucky, raised in Columbia, Tennessee, All-American at the University of Memphis. Marlins Rule 5'd him after the 05 season, and 154 homers with the Fish. Back then, his name was Dan Ugla.
His stretch of 5 consecutive years of 30 or more home runs is going to end this year, unless he goes absolutely ballistic the last couple of weeks. 19 home runs now.
Ugla takes a strike. As you pointed out, last time the Braves were through, Ugla banged one off the sun in left center field, and then homering up over the Marlins bullpen and over the Clevelander tonight for a 3-run shot. Prado's running on a breaking ball. Brantley's throw got him. Rob Brantley throws out his first base stealer in the big leagues. How about that? Look at a big smile on the kid's face too.
Yeah, he came up firing, and it was a tough pitch because good pitch because it was up, but it was off speed. But he got rid of it in a hurry to get Prado.
And a nice tag by Solano, got the ball down quickly.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, Brantley was very proud of that. You saw him standing behind home plate, gleaming and looking into the Marlins.
Yeah, you know, when you're a catcher, you remember, obviously, you get to the big leagues, you remember your first hit. But when you're a catcher, you're going to remember that first guy you threw out.
Absolutely. I'll bet you he was smiling at Ron Hassey, who's in the dugout.
Try to subdue it a little bit. And there's Hassey.
3-2 coming. Ugla walks, and he's done a lot of that this year. That's 88 walks for Uggla, whose on-base percentage is better than Michael Bourne's, even though Uggla's hitting below 220.
The only major leaguer with more walks than Dan Uggla is in the American League. Big Adam Dunn has 97. Joey Votto on that list, even missing 40 or so games.
Here's Ross.
Ross joking around. Of course, 35. He's a veteran, a tremendous backup catcher. But playing a little bit, he's started 40 games. He's joking around saying, I don't want to overexpose myself. Don't want to play too much.
Smacks that one into left field. LeBlanc hasn't retired anybody in this inning. Prado was thrown out trying to steal after a single. He walked Uggla. Ross, to me, is the best backup catcher in the National League. We don't see enough of the American League to really make that judgment, but you know, tell me a guy who is as good defensively and offensively as Ross. You rarely hear of a backup catcher signing a multi-year contract. That's what the Braves did with Ross. Here's Baker, the former Clemson star.
Now this is some more of the SEC-ACC matchup with Baker up there.
But with Ross up there, you could go a variety of ways. He played at a couple of schools.
Yeah, Ross was he was at Auburn and Florida. Florida first, then Auburn.
And of course, the trick to that is he was raised in Tallahassee. To a note to Baker. Two and one. One ball game final today. Limited schedule in the big leagues. The White Sox beat the Tigers 5-4.
Boy, that was almost a must win for the Tigers.
Baker lines it into right center. That's a base hit. Ruggiano cuts it off. Ross on his way to third. And the Braves just keep scoring. It's 5-0. 3 hits and a walk in the inning.
One thing about Baker, he's always had the reputation. He's a near 300 hitter against lefties. So he has always hit lefties well. A lot of times with a stroke just like that.
Randy St. Clair making his way out to the mound.
Yeah, Rich, the Tigers came into that game 2 games behind the White Sox. If they beat the White Sox, they're a game behind, but the White Sox, who trailed early in that game 3-0, came back to win 5-4.
And the team that finishes second in that division isn't going to sniff the wild card, because you've got Oakland at 84 wins, Baltimore at 82 wins. In fact, Oakland actually has the second best record in the American League right now. The Yankees at 83 and 63. Baltimore's a game back in the East.
You got to be alive, by the way, for a possible squeeze. You don't have a whole lot of speed at third base in Ross, but you have a good athlete up there, a guy who handles the bat pretty well.
The funny thing about Hudson is you always thought when he came over to the National League from Oakland that he would handle the bat a lot better because of his exploits.
Had too many years with the DH.
As as an outfielder, as a designated hitter. He was kind of a utility guy at Auburn. As you pointed out, his average was close to 400. And he had a lot of home runs. But whatever happened to him in Oakland, they deprogrammed him, Tommy.
Well, he has 11 hits this year.
He does have 2 career homers. LeBlanc with the runner going, back to the mound, gets it out there, no out there, gets him out at first. Safe. Now wait a minute, they called him safe at first. The first base umpire, C.B. Buckner, just signaled safe. He's safe at first. Did Carlos Lee's foot come off?
Ozzie can't believe it.
Holy cow.
By putting the runner in motion, LeBlanc didn't have a play at second base, so alertly Reyes goes to first. His foot's on the bag. Foot's on the bag, catches the ball, then he comes off.
Now all 4 umpires are getting together, and now he calls him out.
Now he calls him out. Well, it's good that they got together, but I'm wondering how he missed it.
What a mess. Now here comes Freddie, and Freddie wants to know. Hudson was headed back to the dugout. Terry Pendleton had to bring him back. Freddie wants to know, how can you 3 see it and C.B. Buckner not see it?
Yeah, it's funny. Freddie has a little bit of a beef. Here's a good look right here. Safe at second. Foot's on the corner of the bag. It's on the corner of the bag. On the corner of the bag, still there. Then he comes off. Then he slides it off after he catches. Thinks he might have a play at the plate, but he didn't.
So I think Freddie Gonzalez in his heart knows that he was out, but he's perplexed as how they got to that decision.
But in the meantime, the Braves get that run mainly because Baker was in motion. If he's not running on that play, it's a double play.
And if LeBlanc could do it all over again, he might think about just throwing it to the plate. That's going to be a tough play. Bourne is going to... Oh, he's out. Wow.
Naked eye tells me he might have missed that one.
Let's take a commercial before they talk it over. Get to Nissan for the biggest savings under the sun at Nissan's Summer Saving Days. Visit ChooseNissan.com. And by Coventry Healthcare of Florida, lighting the way to better health. Well, we saw the play at first where Lee's foot was on the bag and C.B. Buckner called Hudson safe. This was the play to end the inning. Solano with Bourne running, and he beat it. As we thought, he was safe by a good amount, but Buckner called him out. Ruggiano rolls one up the middle into center field, and he's got a base hit.
So basically, C.B. Buckner missed back-to-back calls.
The first one, his cohorts, the other three umpires, all converged on him at about the same time. And after conferring, it was determined that he kept his foot on the bag. You can get help from other umpires for that. For say a guy running up the line, a sweep tag that misses, if another umpire sees it, umpires are instructed to take a step or two towards that umpire if he felt that umpire missed the call or didn't have the look that he had. And I think all three guys invoked that clause on the first play. Dobbs hits another rocket out to center, and he's 0 for 2 with 2 loud outs. All right, Auburn reliever, I got no clue.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm just thinking it had to be a reliever. If it's not Hudson, I mean, Hudson could be the answer.
Billy Wagner, Rob Nen, I don't know. Some guy that pitched a lot. Greg Olson.
Greg Olson, who we see often. Nice career.
I like the sound effect, but give us that again.
And Scott Sullivan.
That was kind of... That was the sound when Uggla's ball went out of the yard, I think. Braves on top 6-0. Solano fouls it back to the screen.
It's interesting. I always like to watch the approach that Greg Dobbs has. Obviously, his approach against Hudson is try to get him early. He's had a couple early swings. He's hit the ball well 2 times, but he's 0 for 2.
Yeah, Dobbs, who has flied out twice, and Lee, the only 2 guys to make an out in the air against Hudson. He's always had that heavy 2-seamer that has provided him not only with a lot of outs, but with a very comfortable living.
He's also a guy who has bounced back and come back extremely well after Tommy John surgery. He's 49-26 since Tommy John surgery.
Into center field, a base hit.
He can't get Donovan Solano out, though.
Well, the Marlins now have 6 hits. The Braves have 7, but it's 6-0 Atlanta.
No strikeouts for Hudson, no walks.
You know, in talking about Hudson and Tommy John surgery, the surgery was 2009?
2008.
End of 2008.
Yeah.
Which meant that 2009 he came back and pitched in a few ball games.
He actually did, yeah.
So his 2010 season would be the equivalent of Strasburg's season.
Yeah, that's when he was a comeback player of the year and won 17 games.
And threw 228 innings.
I wonder if anybody's brought that up to Washington management.
Apparently his doctors didn't advise the Braves on that.
And still going strong.
0-2. Reaching out is Brantley, and he dumps it into left field. Ruggiano around third, and the rookie catcher has a couple of hits against Tim Hudson. Miami's on the board.
Well, he's just put 2 beautiful swings on a veteran pitcher. Rob Brantley having a nice night so far. He's thrown his first runner out. Just goes the other way on that sinker, that 2-seamer that was away. Hudson was hoping he'd try to pull it, hit into a double play.
And the Marlins are going to pull the plug on Wade LeBlanc. And Gil Velasquez will hit. Here's where the lack of depth on the bench is a real issue. It was an issue at the end of the game yesterday, but with a short start and a banged up Stanton, by pinch hitting Velasquez here, you got 2 guys left for the rest of the game.
Yeah, if Stanton can't hit, you've got Austin Kearns and John Buck.
Velasquez lines it center field. Bourne comes in and makes the catch. Velasquez with a good swing, hit it on the nose. Chevron Ticket Wednesday. When you fill up with 8 gallons or more of Chevron with Techron gasoline, you'll get a voucher for a 50% discount off tickets in select sections for any remaining Miami Marlins Wednesday home games. Stop in at a participating Chevron station for full details. And this Wednesday is not just any Wednesday. There's a lot going on. So this is a good Wednesday to use that Chevron voucher. You've got, first of all, the pitching matchup. You got Josh Johnson against Chris Medlin, who's the hottest pitcher on the planet right now. You've got Chipper Jones. The Marlins will have a ceremony before the ballgame to honor Chipper Jones, his last game in Miami. And it's Jose Reyes bobblehead night. Peterson, right center field, hit pretty well. Hayward goes back, he won't get it. It's in the gap, it goes to the wall. Scoring is Solano. Brantley's right behind him, and Peterson is tripled. And Miami takes a big bite out of the lead. It's now 6-3.
The difference in this inning, 7 ground ball outs through three innings. All of a sudden, the 2 outs in this inning have been in the air. Guys are getting the ball and lifting it in the air a little bit, so that tells you the Hudson sinker isn't quite there. The 2-seamer isn't the way it was. Good AB by Petey, finds that gap and makes this a ball game all of a sudden.
Now you've got Gorkys Hernandez, who has singled and doubled. Lots of baseball to be played tonight. It's the bottom of the 4th. Marlins have already seen their starter knocked out. And they get to Hudson.
Ozzie just hopes he doesn't have to use 8 pitchers out of his bullpen the way he did yesterday. No, it's interesting. We've talked about Chipper Jones. We will the next couple of games. He's not in the lineup tonight. But Ozzie Guillen and Chipper Jones were teammates a couple of years.
That's right.
1998, 1999.
Ozzie finishing his career with the Braves. Actually, he finished his career with the Rays, but in '99, the Braves went to the World Series.
So Ozzie certainly knows what Chipper Jones means to a ball club. He saw it firsthand.
Gorkys Hernandez, that's deep, and that's going to the wall. And off to the races goes Hernandez. On his way to third, and he's in there. He is a home run shy of the cycle. And it's 6-4.
Back-to-back triples. Little breaking ball, cutter, slider, middle of the plate. Gorky's with his third base hit, and I'll tell you, once it gets into that area with his speed, he pretty much cruises into third base for a triple. So a single, a double, and a triple. First 3 ABs.
And here's Reyes now, who has bounced to first and bounced to third. And Miami trying to pick up this run and make it a 1-run game. Reyes fouls it off. Again, the note we gave you right from the very start when the Braves hung 4 on the board in the first. Tim Hudson is 134-3 with 26 no decisions when given a lead of 3 or more runs.
I think the difference, if you think back to Hudson's 5-hit shutout against the Marlins here in June, and the way he pitched the next time against the Marlins, his stuff isn't as crisp. You're not seeing that hard movement of the sinker. You're not seeing the crisp breaking ball. And that's probably the biggest difference. That's why he's getting hit.
0-2 pitch, ground ball up the middle. Simmons gets a nice hop up and just gets Reyes and keeps that run off the board. As it is, Miami puts 4 up, and this game gets a lot more interesting. It's 6-4. Spotlight, Michael Bourne. In wins, really good. In losses, not so much. To give the Braves an edge, you can keep your edge with Just for Men mustache and beard. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, Craig Minervini, Jeff Kodai, Gorkys Hernandez, and the Subway Fifth. We're all here hanging out for game 1 of a 3-game set with the Atlanta Braves. Tom Kohler arrives. A 6-0 Braves lead is now 6-4. And the Marlins are hopeful that Kohler can somehow contain this red-hot Atlanta ball club. They'll jump right in with Andrelton, Simmons, and then some left-handed pop, Hayward and Freeman.
You saw those numbers of Kohler's at AAA New Orleans this year. He was there last year as well after coming off a spectacular 2010 season in AA Jacksonville, where he went 16-2.
96 miles an hour with the first pitch fastball from Kohler. Simmons a single in the first. He bounced out in the third.
Kohler went a couple of innings against Milwaukee. Did not fare well. Gave up 2 home runs.
So you got to think for Kohler, I guess there's 2 ways you can look at it. After a long minor league season, maybe a little bit of a rest will do his arm good, or he's got a little bit of rust he's got to work out. Maybe a little of both.
I think at 96, he's worked out a little of the rust.
One-two breaking ball is down low. 6-4 Atlanta. Phillies and Mets. That's an R.A. Dickey start. And it's top of the fifth. It's 2-0 Phillies.
Phillies trying to rebound after losing 3 of 4 in Houston.
Brantley couldn't hold it.
That's amazing. You look ahead. We do it all the time. And you say, well, this team has a little lighter schedule. They go in and play the Astros. They play this team. I mean, you never know. So the Phillies, and they're not out of it yet, but that had to take a little starch out of them, losing 3 of 4 in Houston.
Without a doubt, to an Astros team that went into that series with 45 wins on the season.
Astros have lost 99 games.
Where the Phillies were able to sweep that series. They'd be 2.5 back. As it is, they're 4 back. Seven pitch at bat so far for Andrelton Simmons. We told you he's out of Curacao. He's only 21. Played junior college ball in Western Oklahoma, and he takes a big swing and a miss at a Kohler fastball. One out.
A lot of times, the thing that really keeps the momentum going is if your pitcher goes out there after you've just scored 4 and gotten right back in the game. If your pitcher goes out there and has a 1-2-3 inning and gets the offense up there again. So a good start by Tom Kohler. Good pitch to strike out Simmons. Doesn't get easy though now.
Now it's Hayward and Freeman. Other games tonight. Baltimore is out on the West Coast. Still, they were in Oakland yesterday. They're up in Seattle to face the Mariners tonight.
You realize the win yesterday for the Orioles, their 82nd win of the year, gives them their first winning season since 1997.
Great quote from Buck Showalter in the clubhouse when asked about that after the ball game. Here's the 1-1 pitch. He said, 82 wins doesn't get you to the playoffs. That's not what we were all about when we broke spring training. It wasn't about having a winning season.
It's amazing. You look at their lineup. It seems like every day they're getting contributions from different guys. I mean, their terrific young catcher Matt Wieters hit a couple of home runs yesterday. They had a 4-for-4 game from a guy who pops up different teams all the time, Endy Chavez. I'll tell you another guy who seems to be popping up a lot in different ball clubs is Dwayne Wise.
That's right.
Who's back with the White Sox now and had a 3-hit day for Chicago.
Strike 3 called.
Good job. Good curveball.
Tom Kohler has struck out the first 2 that he's faced.
Boy, that's a perfect pitch. Number 6, right there on the corner. I think Dwayne Wise spent a little time this year with the Yankees.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Buck Showalter has ever managed a postseason game. With the Yankees.
Now, he was out of there. Yeah, he was out of there before they started their run.
No, well, you know what? He did.
What about with Arizona?
No, with the Yankees. His last year with the Yankees, they lost in the American League Championship Series to Seattle, right? And then Joe Torre came in the next year. Showalter's last year was 95 with the Yankees. That was the Yankee Seattle ALCS.
Okay.
Griffey scoring on Edgar Martinez double.
Then Torrey came in.
But the point was that Showalter helped build up the Yankees. They became a dynasty. Helped build up the Diamondbacks. They won a World Series. Wow, Tom Kohler. Talk about an entrance.
That's a terrific job. That'll get your offense going now once again.
Now the Marlins, who put 4 on the board last inning against Hudson, go right back to work. Top tomorrow night inside the Marlins Giving Back, which highlights various charitable and community endeavors by Marlin players and manager Ozzie Guillen, hosted by Frank Ford. Inside the Marlins Giving Back, catch it on Fox Sports Florida. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig.
Hey guys, you guys were talking about the playoffs, and 82 wins doesn't get you there, and that's for sure, especially if you're a wild card team, although this year it looks like the wins are going to be in the 80s, but nobody quite knew what were the numbers going to be for that second wild card team this year to get in the playoffs. One thing for sure, you've needed over 91 on average to get in there in the past. 91.5 for the National League, 94.5 for the American League. That is the average amount of wins wild card teams have had, except for that strike shortened year in 95. We show you the other part of that, though. There's only a handful of teams that gotten in the 80s. The Orioles, the Dodgers, and the Astros with less than 90 wins from the wild card team. As Ruggiano pokes that one, and the Marlins are going to get another extra base hit here to working their way back. With the way the Cardinals have been playing of late, and the Dodgers not that great, it's very possible you might even get 84, 85 wins to the playoffs. Right now, teams hovering around 500 are still kind of shockingly in the race. Guys, I do remember growing up watching my New York Mets in '73. They had only 82 wins, and somehow they won the National League East. Tommy, you played against that team.
Yes, you did, Tommy. That '73 Mets team. That was a team with a fading Willie Mays on it.
That was the year that everybody in that Eastern Division had a chance. Almost the last week of the season.
Dobbs now. Speaking of that, it didn't look like the Marlins had a chance at all. Down 6-0 to Tim Hudson. But 4 runs in the fourth. A one-out double by Ruggiano. And here's Dobbs, who's hit 2 balls real hard. But both have been out to Michael Bourne in center field.
10 hits, the most that Hudson has allowed in any game this year.
Dobbs swings and misses. Just to finish that, Buck Showalter thought. Showalter did get to the postseason. It was World Series that he had not managed. He didn't get there with the Yankees, but he helped build that team Didn't get there with the Diamondbacks, helped build that team. The Rangers, he managed up until 06, and of course the Rangers have been to a couple of World Series since. And now, in his 3rd year with the Orioles, a team that was a mess when he inherited them in 2010. They're at 82-64.
So what you're saying is that the Orioles are ready for a managerial change?
No, I don't think so.
He's done a terrific job there.
What I'm saying is I hope he gets a chance to ride this one out.
Going to fight your guy out west for Manager of the Year?
Bob Melvin.
Yeah. I think those two would be the two in the running.
Ruggiano's at second, 1 out. Hudson to the plate. Dobbs takes a strike. And Hudson evens the count at 2-2. Dobbs fouls it back to the screen. Now that Mets-Phillies game won't go very far in deciding a postseason team, but it might have an impact on the National League Cy Young Award with R.A. Dickey getting the start. The Mets have scored a run. It's 2-1 right now. Dickey is matched up against Cliff Lee.
That means the Marlins will probably see R.A. Dickey over the weekend.
It's a 4-game series, or a 3-game series coming up for the Mets. 2-1 ball game there now in the 6th, and Dobbs launches one fouling out of play.
So depending on how Terry Collins wants to use R.A. Dickey, Marlins could see him Friday or Saturday. Most likely Saturday. Afternoon game Saturday, right?
That's right. Night game on Friday at Citi Field. Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, and then on to Atlanta. Dobbs locked in a 2-2 battle here with Hudson, whose breaking ball almost got him in the back leg.
And Rich, a little trip down memory lane for our own Craig Minervini, who gets to make that trip to New York with us.
Remember, last time we took that trip with Craig, Mr. Met was on the tarmac to greet the plane.
It was a stirring moment.
They rode together in the limo to the Carnegie Deli.
And we had the proof. I was in a picture with Mr. Met, so that's not me. Please.
Uglitz, who is left, flips to first. Dobbs is out. Ruggiano resides at third. And here comes Solano, and this is a guy that has had great swings against Hudson. He's got 2 hits. Rob Brantley has 2 hits. You think of the hitters that have had big nights tonight. It's Gorkys Hernandez, Ruggiano, Solano, Brantley.
Peterson with a big triple.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking when the Reds were in town that they've never had a Cy Young winner. R.A. Dickey in the running. The Mets have had 2. Of course, Tom Seaver won 3 Cy Young awards. And Dwight Gooden, 1985.
Hudson misses away. Christian Martinez in the bullpen. Bottom of the 5th, 6-4 Atlanta. It was 6-0. Ruggiano 90 feet away. Solano 2 for 2 against Hudson. Off-speed pitch, a strike.
Ozzie has to get the bullpen going because should the inning continue, he may have to hit for Kohler. Which again is one of those things every so often we talk about you don't have to concern yourself with in the American League, and you could get a Tom Kohler to give you 3 or 4 good innings, but not in the National League, because all of a sudden if he gets something going, and Ozzie knows it's a 2-run game now, that he has to pinch hit for him with a short bench as it is.
2-2. Solano fouls it off his foot. And Ozzy's probably thinking to himself, he's hopeful, whether it's this inning or next inning, that Kohler comes up in a spot that's not an absolute necessity, or maybe he could bunt a guy over so he could stay in the game, because Ozzy's already used Velasquez. Stanton is injured. Solano, a little soft fly ball, right field. Shoot top catch by Hayward. And that keeps Ruggiano from scoring, and it ends the inning. Jason Hayward with a nice play in right field. Marlins threaten again. Still 6-4. For Atlanta on top. On to the 6th. You can place a deposit, secure your seats at Marlins Park for the 2013 season. There are flexible and easy payment options. Get the best seats available. Take advantage of the new Season Ticket Rewards Plus program, giving you the option to exchange unused tickets for merchandise, VIP experiences, and more. 1-877-MARLINS. Martin Prado against Kohler. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the hardest I've ever seen Tom Kohler throw.
I agree. You and I were talking about it between innings. I mean, we've seen him throw a lot in spring training, and he has, you know, his reputation as a guy low 90s, two seams it, sliders, curveball.
He was blowing 96. Now he's at 93. He struck out Simmons, Hayward, and Freeman.
The bottom line is good to see. Good to see him take advantage of his chance, his opportunity.
In the right center field, a base hit. Hernandez picks it up. Prado stops at first.
Boy, Martin Prado 3 for 3 tonight.
And here comes Ugla. 3-run homer. A walk. He has scored a couple of runs.
The other thing about Prado, you know, you mentioned it earlier, the number of positions. He's played 5 different positions this year. But wherever he plays, it doesn't bother his hitting. Wherever he bats in the order, doesn't affect his hitting.
Ugla looking down at Brian Snitker, the third base coach. Infield looking for 2. And Kohler misses down low. The Braves have started base runners on a couple of occasions. Prado was thrown out trying to steal in the 4th. Dan Jennings getting ready.
The Marlins in the ball game yesterday, including Ricky Nolasco, who started the game, used a franchise record 9 pitchers in the 11 innings. I think Ozzie had overage on the number to the bullpen yesterday.
His data plan was a max 7 pitchers. Kohler gets a strike on the breaking ball. It's 2-2. Outside corner. Whoa! And Rob Brantley's throw ends up out at second base.
He's had a little trouble every once in a while making his throw back to the pitcher. That curveball, we talked about the fastball from Tom Kohler. This pitch has been a terrific pitch for him since he's been here.
Did Ugla, see what happened?
Ugla crossed in front, so then he threw the ball over Ugla's head, and it went over Kohler's head.
He didn't want to dome Ugla there. Here's Ross, his flied out and single.
Tom Kohler out of New Rochelle High School, New York. Stony Brook University. Have you ever done a game at Stony Brook?
No. I have not worked that conference. A lefty up. Luis Avilan near the Braves bullpen. David Ross waiting. Tom Kohler gets a strike. So Kohler has faced 5 hitters. He has struck 4 of the 5 out. Prado has a base hit. He's at first with 1 out in the 6th.
Three of the 4 strikeouts have been looking too.
If you watch the first inning and saw the Braves score 4. Ooh,
wow.
Jeff Baker, the on-deck hitter, had that ball zip right by him.
Now he moves a little over in front of the dugout.
You hear Ross?
What did he say?
Can't teach that right there.
That pitch was by him, and he just got a piece of it.
Can't teach that right there. You heard him call for time. Strike 3 called.
Well, he asked for time, and by that point in time, you're usually not going to get it because Kohler's close to pitching. And again, Freese is a hitter, so 4 of the 5 strikeouts have been looking. I mean, he did the right thing. He stayed right there with his stance. He didn't back out.
And he didn't stay there and argue with the umpire because he's a catcher. He understands the drill.
Yeah.
Baker not only retreated back in front of the dugout, he got called back into the dugout. He never should have gone that close, Tommy. If he'd have just stayed in the on-deck circle, he'd be hitting now. But since the Braves have 10 guys on their bench, they're going to pinch hit for Baker.
Well, Freddie can pinch hit all night.
Lyle Overbay. There's been a Lyle Overbay sighting, and he's in a Braves uniform.
Well, just to give you an example, as well as Overbay. Freddie Gonzalez has Juan Francisco, Eric Hinsky, Constanza, McCann. Of course, he has Chipper Jones as a switch hitter. There's Hinsky. He's getting ready. On the right side, Pasternicki, Johnson, Yanish, and Boscan.
Ozzy's got, what, 2 guys left?
2 guys left.
If Stanton can't play?
Yeah.
The Subway sub prize, I guess, would be the wild card. The Braves, as we've told you, have a 7-game lead over the Cardinals. But the Cardinals are the team everyone's gunning for. The Dodgers just lost Clayton Kershaw. They're a game back.
Those are the overall numbers for Overbay, but as a Brave, just 1 for 10. The other thing that Freddie can do, he can use 2 guys here, because he more than likely is not going to have Overbay go out and play in the field. We'll probably see maybe a Reed Johnson go in the outfield.
Solano picks it, nicely done. A flip to Reyes to get the out. Tom Kohler with 2 very nice scoreless innings. Bottom of the 6th, 6-4 Atlanta. Hit streak to 8 games. Gorkys Hernandez is a home run shy of the cycle, and the Marlins have succeeded in chasing Tim Hudson for the ballgame. Jose Constanza is in left field.
That was the other choice, along with Reed Johnson.
Luis Avilan enters for Atlanta. The Braves bullpen, especially the back end of the bullpen, very, very good. And this year, as opposed to last year, pretty well rested. Freddie Gonzalez has done a nice job of managing that bullpen down the stretch. Kimbrel, a big difference in his innings load from last year.
Well, the other thing, they had all those extra inning games last year.
And they had a lot of short starts last year. Derek Lowe was a guy that generally gave him 5 innings.
But with the 5-1 win last night against Washington, he was able to get by without using the O'Flaherty's or Venters or Kimbrels. Kimbrel, I think they were giving the night off anyway.
Oh, Ventrable. Isn't that what they call that trio?
I like that. Max O'Ventrable.
Brantley has a couple hits. And a little tapper up the line at third. Prado charges and throws and just gets him. We told you Wednesday is a great day to come to the ballpark. And one of the reasons why Lil Jose will be spinning the tunes out at the Cleveland.
Wow, yeah.
And it'll be Jose Reyes bobblehead night. Oh, he loves the cotton candy. Who has more fun than we do? I mean, really.
Here's the other tough part. I know we've probably belabored this too much, but it's worth noting when you have games when your starter goes 4 innings, and you have to go into the bullpen and you have to pinch hit. If we didn't tell you about it, we wouldn't be doing our job. You're using your best pinch hitter now. You have to, with nobody on base. I mean, this is a situation you'd love to have Austin Kearns a little later in the game.
But your other guy left is John Buck, who's your backup catcher. And Giancarlo Stanton is questionable, and in case of emergency, maybe only with a sore side. Here's the 1-1. Kearns a high chopper out to short. Simmons makes the play. So down goes Kearns. And here comes Brian Peterson. There's Buck. Avilan gets the first 2 outs of the 6th inning. Peterson, a triple in the 4th. That knocked in 2. Marlins got back-to-back triples. Peterson, Corkey's, Hernandez. Avilan misses, and it's 1-1. A liner, and Simmons went up to get it. He didn't have to. He caught it right about chin high. Petey hit it hard. A 1-2-3 inning for Avilan. Miami. The Marlins tonight drawing 23,308, and they've got a new chucker on the mound. Mike Dunn comes on. Tom Kohler Gives Ozzie Guillen 2 very nice innings. Wade LeBlanc went the first 4. You see Dunn's numbers.
We've seen some very nice innings from Mike Dunn, who comes in to just keep it a 2-run game.
The attendance figure is significant because 23,308 puts the Marlins over 2 million in attendance for the first time since '97. We check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Well, thank you very much. The military being honored here tonight, as they do on Military Mondays. Greg Zanone's wife is in the Army, but you have a terrific new program you started with Giancarlo Stanton as your spokesman. Tell us about it, Greg.
That's right. We're pretty excited about it. It's our health and fitness initiative. It's called The Pledge. And simply all the fans get to choose if they want to do push-ups and sit-ups, all in support of the troops. We're kicking off the program today. We did it actually with the Boys and Girls Club on field. Stanton showed them how to do some push-ups and sit-ups along with their strength and fitness coach, Ty. And now we're ready to get the fans, and we're ready to kick this thing off, a 6-week program with the fans doing some push-ups and sit-ups in support of our Wounded Warriors.
It's called Pros versus G.I. Joes. Is that Pros, P-R-O-S?
P-R-O. It's just
Pro versus G.I. Joe.
.org.
And how can fans get involved in this?
They can simply sign up for the pledge. We want as many people as we can to sign up for the pledge, especially for this series with Stanton. And you simply go to proversegijoe.org. You click on the pledge link. It'll give you to the sign-up page. You click how many push-ups and sit-ups you want to do for 6 weeks, and that's it. You can get going next Monday.
So it's got a fitness angle too, and all in support of the troops.
All in support of the troops. All the money that comes in, all the donations that come in through the pledge goes directly to our Wounded Warriors.
Tell us about your wife. She's in the Army?
She is. She's been in the Army Reserves now for the last 10 yeyears. She was in Iraq twice. I met her after her second deployment, and she loves wearing the uniform. And she got me into this about 5 years ago, and it gives you a new appreciation for the military.
Greg, you must have played some sport. What'd you play?
You know what? I was 285 pounds back then, but I played football for West Virginia.
West Virginia?
West Virginia, yeah, not bad, but broke my leg and my jaw in one play, and that's it. Now 200 pounds soaking wet.
All right. Good program. Pro versus VS GIJoe.org, and we'll catch up with Giancarlo and get his thoughts on it. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
All right, that's Greg Zanone, guys. Back to you.
All right, thanks. You've got Reed Johnson at the plate, Mike Dunn on the mound, and a high fastball, and that finishes off Johnson.
Rich, I know you know, and our producer John Salzer knows that I'm kind of a push-up guy, and I may jump on this. I may get on that website tomorrow and get going on Monday, just to make a pledge.
Yeah, in your CrossFit days, you did a lot of everything.
Yeah, I'm a little slowed down with the knee right now, but I can still do push-ups.
That's very nice. Michael Bourne takes a breaking ball for a strike. And Bourne. I think I hear Bill Miller say, I guarantee you, when you look at that one on tape, it's going to be a strike.
I don't know about the guarantee, Bill, but it's pretty close.
It's close. Michael Bourne thought it was high, and it might have been. Here's the 0-1. That is a guaranteed strike right down the middle.
It is. There's still Bill Miller doing a lot of talking down there.
Fouled out of play. This was a Wade LeBlanc start. 4 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. This was a Tim Hudson start. 5 innings, 10 hits, 4 runs for Hudson. You see Corey Kieran in the bullpen. Hudson did not walk or strike out a hitter. Breaking ball, struck him out. Bourne goes down swinging. Marlins have had some good bullpen tonight between Kohler and Dunn. Poll question. Do you think the Braves will catch the Nationals and win the National League East? It's from All My Sons Moving and Storage. In the words of Fred Willard, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I would say M2 as well.
Did he ask in that same movie, how much do you think I can bench press? Best in show. Andrelton Simmons. 1-0. Two and 0. Now you got that look on your face like you can't talk because you're thinking about the movie Best in Show.
I'm thinking about push-ups right now.
Think about baseball, Tommy. Think about baseball. Here's the 2-0. It's popped up in the shallow
Think
center.
about a good job by Mike Dunn.
And Gorkys Hernandez calls him off, makes the catch. Kohler and Dunn have combined for 3 scoreless out of the bullpen. Miami hanging in this one, 6-4 Atlanta. In Miami tonight, Atlanta dropped the bomb on the Fish, a 4-run first. Dan Uggla with a 3-run homer, racing to a 6-0 lead. But it's 6-4 as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, Jeff Conine, Craig Minervini. And here is Gorkys Hernandez. In their history, the Marlins have thrown 4 no-hitters. Those are not easy to get. They have never hit for the cycle. And this man is a home run away from doing it. Corey Kieran throws a strike to Gorkys Hernandez, who has singled, doubled, and tripled.
And he's already put together his first 3-hit game as a major leaguer.
Kieran's next pitch is fouled back and out of play. And Corey Kieran is a great story that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. What a nice addition in a stretch run for the Braves. Look at the numbers that he's put up in just 16 appearances. His last 14 appearances have been scoreless.
Got that big sweeping breaking ball. Good 2-seam fastball. In a way, because of his delivery, has similarities to Steve Cishek. Lefties give him a little more trouble than right-handers.
Two. And Hernandez swings and misses. Kieran strikes out Gorkys Hernandez. Reyes coming up. The 4 for $54 pack includes 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 Pepsis, 4 bags of chips for just $54. The next 4 for $54 night is on Tuesday, September 18th. Marlins and Braves at 7:10. Individual and group packs are available online at marlins.com. Reyes smokes it down the line into the corner. Hayward after it. Reyes to second, and he'll stop there. Hayward did a nice job of not over pursuing that ball and getting caught deep in the corner and having it squirt by him.
Yeah, he knows the trouble he would have gotten in had he done that, especially with Reyes, the runner. Reyes' first hit of the night, coming off a great series against Cincinnati. Jose was 8 for 13 in that 3-game series against the Reds. And Rich, do you realize the Gorkys Hernandez strikeout, the first Marlin to strike out tonight? 9 Braves have struck out.
Tom Kohler struck out 5 of the 9. Carlos Lee up, and he takes outside. 34 doubles for Reyes to go with 11 triples. Lee 0 for 3.
And by the way, that left-handed bat theory proven out with Reyes doubling off Guerin. So Johnny Venter's getting ready for Greg Dobbs, I'm sure. And you get to a point now where if you're Freddie Gonzalez, you know you're going to get that matchup because Ozzie can't pinch hit.
He's being really careful with Carlos Lee. There is one out, but Ruggiano's got 2 hits. He's on deck. He's banged out a single and a double. Inside corner, 3-1.
See what Carlos Lee gets if Guerin feels confident in that sweeping breaking ball, if he gives him another fastball.
Lee down the right field line and foul.
Got the fastball.
There's a terrific column if you're a Braves fan or a baseball fan on ESPN.com. David Schoenfeld, who writes the Sweet Spot blog, pointing out all the things to like about the Braves. And Guerin is in there talking about the Braves bullpen. He points out that Guerin, over the past 2 seasons between AAA and the big leagues, has given up 1 home run. Lee into center field. That's a base hit. Reyes around third. He's going to score. And Miami is back within 1.
The man can just hit with a runner in scoring position. He's fun to watch. Got a great approach, shortened his swing up, and banged an RBI single up the middle. And once that base hit got up the middle, you knew Jose Reyes was going to score.
So it's 6-5. Ruggiano up. And he taps one towards third. It draws Prado right to second. Uggla's turn is on the money. And Ruggiano bounces into a double play. But Miami climbs within a run. Down 6-0. It's now 6-5. To the 8th we go. Marlins have almost climbed out of that 6-0 hole. Tomorrow, that's your cue card. Chevron starters. Paul Maholm, who stuck it in the Marlins' ear when he was a Cub this year. Nathan Eovaldi for the Fish. That's tomorrow. We start at 6:30 with Marlins Live. Hope you're with us. And then on Wednesday, you've got Josh Johnson, Chris Medlin. Medlin just incredibly hot right now on a big-time roll. Chipper Jones ceremony before the ball game. Jose Reyes bobblehead night.
All kinds of things going.
That's right.
Only 10 pitches for Mike Dunn last inning. So he goes back out there to pitch this 8th.
Breaking ball misses away. You can't say enough about the relief pitching of Tom Kohler. Wade LeBlanc, 4 rocky innings. 6 runs on 7 hits. But Kohler came in. His first pitch was a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. And he was in the mid-90s from there on. He struck out the side in the 5th.
Had a great breaking ball to go along with it.
Freezing Hayward and Freeman with breaking balls to get the strikeouts. And then he punched out Ugla and David Ross in his 2nd inning of relief. Done with a high fastball. 1-2. One and two. Hayward leading off in the 8th.
You mentioned, Rich, the Cubs talking about Paul Maholm. How about the year that Anthony Rizzo, the youngster, is putting together? He was 3 for 5, had a couple of home runs.
6 RBIs.
6 RBIs. Is hitting .300, has 14 home runs, 43 RBIs. You go back to his AAA numbers before he was called up. He was hitting .342 with 23 home runs.
That one scorched into right field. It scoots by Solano. And Hayward with a base hit to open up the 8th inning.
Well, 37 home runs combined between AAA and the major leagues, and over 100 RBIs.
Padres had acquired him in the Adrian Gonzalez trade, wasn't it? You go over with Casey Kelly, and then the Padres traded him to the Cubs for the guy that threw 100.
Oh, the big right-hander with the Padres.
Cashman?
Yeah. Cashner.
Andrew Cashner.
Yeah, it's been a nice deal. Getting an everyday first baseman that's put together some numbers the way Anthony Rizzo has.
Freeman up. Hayward's had a pretty good year running the bases, too. He swiped 19. Dunn is not one of those lefties where you say he's got a great move. Marlins have 2 guys in the rotation with very good moves. Obviously, Burley, one of baseball's best, but LeBlanc, a very good move to first as well. That one gets through the glove of Brantley. It almost hit Freeman. And Hayward gets second base on what might be a pass ball.
Not an easy play for a catcher. He's set outside, has to reach way inside, but certainly catchable. But a tough play. See how they rule it. And it's ruled a wild pitch.
There's a little more discretion. It used to be if a catcher got his glove on it, it was a pass ball. But You're right. When you watch replays and see a guy get crossed up and have a catcher have to drag himself all the way across the plate.
And I think one of the reasons for that is nowadays I believe catchers are more accentuated as to where they set. They're more going to set outside, and all of a sudden the pitch crosses them up. He's set on the outside corner. And there it is, inside and high.
And they've just changed it to a pass ball. But I think we're in agreement it could go either way.
Yeah.
Jason Hayward waiting out at second. Freeman trying to check his swing, and Dunn's going to get a strike out of it. It's fouled back to the screen. 2-2. Top 8. It's a one-run game. Pulled to the right side. Dunn is there. Lee leads him. So the Braves get him over, and now Prado comes up, and he'll try to get him in. Ozzie Guillen.
Yeah, Prado will have to do it off a right-handed pitcher. Looks like Ozzie's going to make a change.
So here comes Ozzie. Out goes Dunn. Hayward's waiting at third. Prado's waiting at the plate. Ryan Webb coming in, 6'5" Atlanta. In the 8th, there's one out, runner at third base. Toyota Trent time. At Marlins Park, the Braves have won 5 of 6 and outscored the Marlins a bunch, 33-9. And it looked like this game was headed in that same direction. Atlanta held a 6-0 lead. Tim Hudson was on the mound, for goodness sakes. But the Marlins knocked him out of the ball game, have climbed within 1, infield in, and here is Prado, who always seems to come through in this spot against the Marlins.
Number one, he's a tough guy to strike out. So he generally, in this situation, will put the ball in play.
There's Webb and his numbers. He misses outside, but you've got Webb, who's a sinker baller, and he usually good at getting ground balls. The infield's hoping for one. Prado is right on that list of toughest to strike out in the National League. Carlos Lee, number 1, Marco Scudero, number 2, Jose Reyes, number 3, and Prado is number 6.
And speaking of Carlos Lee, Uncle Bayo way off the line at first base. So there's room up in that area. But that's what the defensive charts tell you to do.
1-2 pitch. Ooh, just in. Warren Henry Fox track. There's Hayward. Infield's in, 1 out. Went right back in on him. 97 miles an hour.
There is no question that Ryan Webb has outstanding stuff.
Two and 2. Broke his bat and lines it foul. Well, the Braves have accomplished a few things here. They've put 6 on the board. They knocked LeBlanc out early. And they've been able to get the game to the 8th inning with the lead. And even if it's just a 1-run lead for the Braves, that's usually a win-win. Because, as you pointed out, you've got O'Flaherty in the 8th. It's probably Venters and then Kimbrel.
And everybody this year has been talking about the gaudy, incredible numbers of Aroldis Chapman. But Craig Kimbrel's in some areas are better.
Two. Prado dumps it into center field. He does it again. And the Braves get a big insurance run, 7-5. That pass ball really hurts. That moved Hayward to second. Freeman's grounder moved him to third. And a bloop single scores him.
That ties Martin Prado's career high. 4-hit game. 6th time in his career he's had 4 hits in a game.
Ugla now struck out, walked, and hit a 3-run homer. This is a guy that Earl Weaver would have loved to have managed. Dan Ugla.
He would have taken his power over Rich Dowers.
Slow roller. Dobbs charges, throws. Ugla beat it. Ugla got out of the box, hustled down the line. His 2nd hit tonight.
Tough play for Greg Dobbs, who's playing back with Ugla up there.
Did Earl Weaver manage Davey Johnson? Because Davey Johnson
was more power than Dower.
He was the Dan Ugla of his time in terms of power hitting.
He really had that one power year with the Braves.
Didn't hit that many with the Orioles.
No.
Launching pad in Atlanta. David Ross finds himself at the plate again. He's 1 for 3. Jose Constanza is on deck. Ross out in front. Ball and a strike. did it again. You hear that? He called for time.
He's not in sync right now with Bill Miller, the home plate umpire. I'm sure they've talked about it, too, when Ross has gotten back there defensively.
Well, you just saw Ross with a big smile on his face. He just can't get the timing down for that. He's trying to compose himself now. Fastball, ground ball. Reyes shovels. Solano turns in time. Marlins get the double play, but the Braves get a big insurance run, and they turn it over to maybe the best back end in any bullpen in the big leagues. Hits for Atlanta. They just picked up their 7th run in the top of the 8th. Here in the bottom of the 8th, the Marlins 5 runs, 12 hits. For the Fish, highlights: Rod Brantley 2 for 3. He's extended his hit streak to 8. And Gorkys Hernandez went single, double, triple his first 3 at bats. He struck out in his 4th, and he'll get another one. A shot to be the first Marlin to hit for the cycle.
Boy, more good numbers from Eric O'Flaherty. And one of the keys to what he does out there, he keeps the ball down. Good sink and tail to his fastball, pretty good slider, and throws lots of strikes.
Braves have a scoreless inning from Luis Avila, a scoreless inning from Corey Garrett, and now O'Flaherty takes over. Greg Dobbs, Donovan Solano, Rob Brantley. Two.
Talking about the attendance, Rich, the ball club going over 2 million tonight. It's only the 3rd time in franchise history.
First since '97. Uggla with the ground ball. Fires on over to first, and Dobbs is out number 1 in the bottom of the 8th.
The only other time, the inaugural season, 1993. The Marlins drew over 3 million that year.
0-1 to Solano. Donovan opened his night with a couple of hits. Up the middle, Ugla sets himself, and Freeman does a nice job to keep his foot on the bag, makes the catch.
One of the first things we learned of Freddie Freeman when he first came to the big leagues, we talk a lot about his hitting, but we found out, we've seen over the last couple of years, his ability, his Gold Glove ability at first base. He's very good around the bag. And a nice stretch there. He uses the bag to stretch up a little higher, too.
So here's Brantley. And his ground ball is going to find left field. Brantley's got 3 hits tonight. And the Marlins are going to use John Buck to hit here. Buck's in. Buck, of course, was the guy that hit the ball to deep center that finished yesterday's ball game. And he had the great quote in the locker room. He said, it plays both ways. It plays big when you're at the plate, and it plays big when you're behind the plate.
Yeah, he said, he told me today, he said, I might not always like it when I'm hitting, but you know what? When I'm catching, I love it.
Of course, the amazing thing about this one is exactly where he caught it.
Keep the other thing in mind on this play, and remember they had made the defensive change. Stubbs came in. They were playing no doubles. So Stubbs was playing way back. And who knows, if they're not playing no doubles, you don't know if he gets to it. He probably does, but it's a difficult play, more difficult.
We saw Buck's numbers against O'Flaherty. He's 4 for 5. Notable about Buck's appearance here is the Marlins don't have another catcher. And if Giancarlo Stanton can't hit, and he's out with a sore side today, this is the last position player for the Marlins.
Their only hope for another catcher is in the bullpen, Chris Hatcher, who could always, I'm sure he remembers how to put the gear on.
And O'Flaherty has gone 2-0 to Buck. Big swing and a miss. It's 2-1. Just 5 innings for Tim Hudson. Just 4 innings for Wade LeBlanc. AJ Ramos in the Marlins pen. Inside corner. 2-2. Peterson's on deck. Breaking ball in the dirt, and that would give Brantley a head start at first with a full count. There's Peterson.
With a Philly Met game going to the bottom of the 9th inning, but Cliff Lee basically outpitched R.A. Dickey. Cliff Lee went 8 innings, gave up 1 run, and had 10 strikeouts.
Little tapper up the line. It's foul.
R.A. Dickey didn't pitch badly. 7 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned runs. Had 8 strikeouts.
It's out. Now this might be a better matchup for O'Flaherty in that Buck was 4 for 5 in his career. Now he gets to face the lefty Peterson. But it does move a runner at scoring position, and it puts the tying run at first base.
And Peterson's last 2 at bats, he's really ripped the ball well. He had that triple, 2 RBIs in the 4th inning. And remember, he hit that line drive to the shortstop, Andrelton Simmons, his last time up in the 6th.
I Roger McDowell, pitching coach for the Braves. So Peterson digs in. O'Flaherty to the plate. And starts with a breaking ball for a strike. Fastball backs him off the plate. Bell has joined Ramos. Chad Durbin. Got a right-handed hitter in Gorkys Hernandez on deck. Peterson's ground ball, Ugla to his left, slides, picks it up, fires, out at first base. Whoa! Dan Ugla, terrific play. Freeman had to go up to get it, and he apparently kept his foot on the bag. And Ugla, yeah, he should give Freeman a big pat on the back. He saved him on this one. Arrived. Marlins Live coming up. Jeff Conine looking like anything like a CIA operative, Secret Service. Yeah, he's packing. You can see it. He's packing. And he'll be on the set. Actually, he's on the set right now, waiting for Marlins Live, brought to you by Checkers. AJ Ramos will try to keep it at 2 runs.
Lot better outing in the ball game yesterday. Came in the 7th inning, gave up a leadoff double to Todd Frazier, but then retired the next 3 hitters.
Here is Constanza in his first AB. Tries the back foot one, a big cut and a foul tip. It's 0-1. Stanza, who had that great start last year when he arrived in the big leagues, and a lot of it came at the Marlins' expense.
I think he made his debut, got his first major league hit against the Marlins.
Something like 500 against the Marlins through much of the year last year.
Got a base hit off Mike Dunn for his first major league hit.
Fouls Ramos' pitch off. There he is. How about Craig Kimbrell for Cy Young? I know it's a year with all the great starters.
Well, then you certainly have to consider Aroldis Chapman, too. My opinion is that if a reliever wins the Cy Young, it has to be a year when there isn't a starting pitcher who really deserves it. I mean, a starting pitcher can't win the Fireman of the Year award.
The Fireman of the Year award just doesn't have that same cachet. You know? I mean, I know it's a nice award.
Yeah.
You get a year's supply of roll-ins or whatever.
How big Eric Hinsky can get that cool looking fireman's hat.
You should have to wear that while pitching the next season.
Oh, good breaking ball.
Hinsky was out in front of it. It's 0-2.
Hinsky gives Freddie Gonzalez that veteran off the bench. American League Rookie of the Year in 2002, Eric Hinsky. He was with the Toronto Blue Jays at that time.
While he didn't turn into a spectacular everyday player, he has been a nice piece for a lot of postseason teams. Swing and a miss. Hinsky strikes out. Ramos strikes out the first two. And here comes Bourne.
I think the lesson learned by A.J. Ramos, remember we saw him make his debut and he was firing. He struck out the three hitters he faced. And he had the outing where he gave up a couple of home runs. I think the lesson learned is that when you get to this level, the stuff has gotten you here, but the ability to pitch keeps you here. And I think he made a nice adjustment. He's pitching a little bit, using that breaking ball a little more.
Yeah, he is. I mean,
That looked like a changeup.
it's the first time we've really seen him use the changeup.
Yeah.
Good arm action.
Good arm action, a little sink to it.
And a breaking ball. And Ramos,
That's great stuff.
strikes out the side like he did in his big league debut. Marlins, though, down 2, and here comes Kimbrel. AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. By Checkers, feast on. And by Infinity, luxury cars that deliver inspired performance. Marlins Park tonight, 7-5 Atlanta. And in the bottom of the ninth, the Marlins will be facing Craig Kimbrell. Rookie of the year last year, All-Star, and look at the year he is having.
Well, when you look at the numbers, they just are incredible. 104 strikeouts in 55 and a third innings, just 14 walks, and opposing hitters hitting $122.
Gorkys Hernandez, and fights off a fastball, fouls it back. Jose Reyes, and then Carlos Lee. Hernandez single, double, triple to open the night. He struck out in the seventh. So if he is going to become the first Marlin to ever hit for the cycle, he's going to have to homer against Kimbrell, who's given up all of 3 this year. Even that seems like a high number.
You and I were interested when the inning ended at the nice conversation. Animated as Ozzie always is, but I guarantee he's talking to A.J. Ramos about the way he pitched that last inning.
Hernandez and David Ross conversing. Kimbrell's out in front, 0-2. Earlier in the telecast, I referenced that David Schoenfeld column on the Braves. There's a great part in there about Kimbrell. Opposing hitters hitting 122. He has struck out over half of the hitters that he's faced. And as he writes, you know who's done that before? Nobody. I mean, that's why I threw his name in there for Cy Young. He hasn't been used as much as last year, but that's a good thing.
And he's all of 24.
To left, Constanza is there, and he makes the catch. Reyes now. Reyes has doubled and bounced out 3 times.
One of our crack staffers from Atlanta letting us know that 21 of Kimbrell's last 26 outs have been strikeouts.
Reyes a little tapper. Freeman shovels it behind Kimbrell, and Reyes is there. And Miami's going to bring the tying run to the plate here.
Freeman's going to be upset with himself. Not an easy play, but a good flip, and they get Reyes. But it's a tough play for a first baseman. He has to turn completely around and then try to lead Kimbrell, which he doesn't. And Kimbrell never got to the ball, and Reyes got to first base.
It's going to be an infield hit. Now Carlos Lee. And he pops it into shallow center. In comes Bourne, and he makes a running catch and throws it almost into the dugout. Wow. He's fortunate they've got the screens up in front of the dugout. It stayed in play, and Reyes stays at first.
Carlos Lee taking a chance on that first pitch fastball. He got it, but just didn't hit it the way he had hoped.
But we talked about Kimbrell. It's coming in and struck out over half the batters he's faced. The note that you had, 21 of 26 of his last outs have been strikeouts. He hasn't struck anyone out yet in this inning.
So he doesn't have good stuff, I guess.
Yeah, he has great stuff. Rugiano has 2 hits. He's 2 for 4. Miami down to their last out, and Reyes chased back by Kimbrell. 96 miles an hour. 1-0. And he dots the outside corner at 97.
That's the thing too about Kimbrel. It's not just rear back and throw as hard as I can. It's spotting that 96 or 97 mile an hour fastball on the corners.
Kimbrel was a third-round pick by the Braves in 2008. You've got to admire the Braves have drafted well in assembling this ball club. Yeah, they have some veterans, but Freeman, Hayward, Kimbrel. Ruggiano fouls it back. Venter's older than Kimbrel. Was drafted all the way back in 04. Of course, Brian McCann not playing. He's a homegrown Brave. Two. Struck him out. And the Braves win the ball game. Craig Kimbrel saves it. And the Atlanta Braves are 5 games out of first place. The Nationals idle tonight. The Braves outlast the Marlins here. Atlanta built a 6-0 lead, largely on the shoulders of Dan Uggla's 3-run homer, the Warren Henry drive of the game. A 6-0 lead. The Marlins came back within a run, and the Braves, with some insurance and some great bullpen, finished the night with a 7-5 win. Marlins Live, brought to you by Checkers. Coming up.